Davidson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Whoa, so this is the Act, the proposal for the Act in and of itself are huge and is a big telephone book looking size thing. And then you've got the supplementary order paper that is about the same size. The Green Party, really wanted to support Mika Whaitiri's point of order to have the supplementary order paper referred back to the Māori Affairs Select Committee. I regret that we haven't been able to do that. I want to put on record just a couple of quick points in this part one in the Committee of the Whole House reading. Probably picking up mainly on the principles relating to upholding te tiriti o Waitangi. I think I'll start firstly. So the Greens will not be supporting te Ture Whenua reforms, the Ture Whenua Māori bill. I think in terms of the principles in part one, we will continue to uphold that the whole entire land reform absolutely needs to be driven by Māori. It concerns Māori land. It needs to be fully understood, fully driven and fully accepted by Māori. I do want to thank the advisors and all of the work that has gone into this enormous set of reforms. The advisors being on the Select Committee through this particular piece of legislation I have been incredibly grateful to the advisors, to the advice we continue to receive, also to the attempts from the advisors and from the officials to help us on the Māori Affairs Select Committee come to terms with what we were dealing with. We were somewhat vindicated, my colleagues and I, on the Māori Affairs Select Committee when it became known that we were not just struggling ourselves to fully comprehend all of this bill, that actually Māori Land Court judges and Māori lawyers were themselves also constantly advocating how large and wieldy this piece of legislation was. On that respect, I do want to thank the officials and the advisors for trying really hard to help us all understand clause by clause and come up with clear summaries and presentations to help us understand that. Notwithstanding their incredible hard work, actually, and their openness to engage with all of us, I think at the core of the Greens opposing is the mandate that this, quite differently from the previous bill we just debated, the Wipere Māori Purposes Bill, where that was driven and worked with the group concerned, we are yet to see the mandate, the understanding and the drive from Māori on a collective basis to this piece of legislation. And that is notwithstanding that actually some or most of the changes could actually be beneficial, because we have to first at least understand that. So I just wanted to pick up on back to the part one principles. The Waitangi Tribunal, and after their analysis, and notwithstanding all the subsequent amendments, did stipulate that if we are going to be making such large reforms to address the barriers to Māori land utilisation and Māori land and to prevent further Māori land loss and alienation, then we need to at least be very sure about what is causing that in the first place. The Green Party was very clear in our support through all the readings that the empirical research should have been done, so that we at least had a clear evidence-based reference point to start with, where we actually knew exactly what the barriers and what the challenges were, and we could perhaps address them more specifically. And so for reasons of mandate and for reasons of having a clear evidence-based research platform are just two of the main top overall reasons why the Greens will continue to oppose overall this Ture Whenua legislation. I wanted to just probably lastly pick up the Minister's address at the beginning of this Committee of the Whole House reading, touched on this consultation that has been held with this bill. I've maintained that the success of the consultation, the indication, should not just come down to numbers. A successful consultation for any legislation should not just rest on how many hui and meetings were held around the country. What I would prefer instead is if the consultations were able to provide us with clear mandate and understanding from all of our people, from all of our landowners. And I think just lastly, in this particular call at this place, in terms of principles and upholding tikanga Māori through land governance, wanted to agree with my colleague Calvin Davis that we are wary of setting up or upholding the inequities between different whānau and land groupings and holdings and organisations. And so we are wary and feel that these matters are too important and that we do not have clear direction about the success. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair.
I'm calling up Peter Periani. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Mr.